KZ cementing their position as the budget IEM company with yet another entry, the KZ ZVX. Hello and thank you for clicking on this video where I'll be sharing my experience on the KZ ZVX. Before we begin, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank KZ for sending this unit in exchange for my honest feedback. However, they will have no influence over my feedback and all thoughts and opinions are my own. I know KZ has had quite a history in the past, so let's see if their recent entries can help KZ find some redemption. But before we talk about the ZVX, if you've been enjoying my content or would like to support my channel, please do consider hitting that like and subscribe button, and I also have a Patreon account as well. Alright, ZVX. If you've been purchasing KZ or CCA IEMs, you pretty much have an idea of how the unboxing is going to be. Just a simple box with a cable and some interchangeable ear tips, but this time they provided foam tips instead and the IEMs themselves. That's it, moving along. The cable itself is what you'd expect from most CCA or KZ products at this price point. The dual cable joint together is as basic as it gets, and nothing more to say about this either. Remember, this is all $20. I swapped this cable around with something that suits the look of the IEM because that's what I like to do and it's looking a lot better. As for the design of the IEMs themselves, it actually looks and feels quite good, especially at this price point. Alloy body, some weight to it, simple, clean design. This hole here giving this IEM its identity. Good thing they added this band over to make it more comfortable to wear. I'm pretty sure they would have wanted to leave this out, which would have made a more cool looking IEM, but it would have been quite uncomfortable to wear. Only gripe I have is all this riding on this IEM, which if it wasn't there, would have made this IEM look a lot better, but for what it is right now, as an overall, I'm liking it. For fit and comfort for most single DD IEM, it makes for a relatively small and comfortable IEM to wear, and the KZ ZVX is no different. No complaints here. If anything, if someone can make a single DD IEM uncomfortable to wear, then there's a huge design flaw somewhere. Let's talk about sound. For bass, the bass on the ZVX is about on par with the CCA CRA, which is to say for $20 it has good slam and impact with a little bit of rumble to keep the tracks engaging. Not sure if the materials and arrangement on the inside has any influence, but the bass on the ZVX sounds a touch fuller, weightier than the CCA CRA. It's actually a very nice presentation and not one I can complain on, especially at this price point. For mid-range, the entire presentation is slightly forward, but it's still at a good distance when it's not too close to you. Vocals are placed in front of the instruments, yet you can still hear the background music. It's actually really good for its price. I would have preferred just a hair more recession in the presentation, but I'm just nitpicking here. For treble, I might need to put a caution for treble sensitive people because there's quite a bit of treble and treble extension, which is great for assisting in sound clarity, openness and presence, especially for instruments, but at the same time it can borderline on sounding a little bit piercing on some tracks. The way the treble is presented gives the female's vocals a little bit of thinness and more of a metallic sounding presentation, so there's a bit of pros and cons to how the KZ ZVX's treble is presented. For imaging and separation, imaging on the ZVX is about average. I can pinpoint the left and right sound positions. At this price point, there's not much to expect, but the ZVX does a good enough job with imaging and separation, and I believe it's due to how the entire sound is presented. It helps with the clarity of the details, and the openness of the sound makes it sound a little wider than it would have been considering the forward presentation. For source on my HiFiMan EF400, I get to about 9 to 10 o'clock on the dial, which is standard for these single DD IEMs on the 3.5 terminations. So to sum it all up, I've always placed the CCA CRA on high regard due to how the sound is presented in comparison with its price point, and I think I finally found an IEM that might replace that. It has almost the same characteristics as the CCA CRA with very few subtle differences that suit my own personal preference better, and coupled with the build and comfort, I find myself thinking about the KZ ZVX a lot more than I would, especially when asked about a $20 IEM. Well done KZ. Let's keep this going, shall we? However, if you want a slightly darker and smoother presentation, then you might want to look at the Truth Ear Ola. But if you like something opposite to the Ola sound presentation, hello KZ ZVX. However, this is based on one man's opinion and I'm curious to know yours. Have your trust for KZ finally come back, or do you have a favorite KZ IEM in their lineup? Comment below, let me know, and with that all said, thank you once again to KZ and to all of you for watching. Till the next experience, take care and happy listening.